actually like being retired.
Okay.
Now the president of the retiree chapter, so I can actually say what I think more firmly. First of all, I'd like to thank very much the organizers and Council of Canadian and the Wilderness Committee for organizing this event. I would like to say that it's a privilege speaking on unceded Coast Salish territory, and it's an honor to be on this panel. I'm going to talk about green jobs in front of David Suzuki. Okay. So we're all suffering from you, David. But I want to say this. I want you to think back, because I think everything has a political root to why we are where we are today. And think back to 1988. We were promised in 1988 a free trade deal that would give us hundreds of thousands of jobs. And every trade deal since talks about hundreds of thousands of jobs. And we can all see where that went. We lost, actually, exponentially, hundreds of thousands of jobs with major closures across Canada, particularly in manufacturing and in other areas, which meant people started to scramble. And literally, when that happens to working class people and people that are looking for work, young people, and they get offered things, and they get offered jobs in gas and oil and fracking. We actually represent the workers in Fort McMurray. About 40% of the workers in Fort McMurray are First Nations. We also represent the workers at Kinder Morgan in Burnaby. And we also represent workers in Kitimat. And what do they all have in common? But I say this proudly after much debate. Those locals passed a resolution against bitumen pipelines and against fracking. I think they also did it because in their communities, they've collaborated with First Nations for decades. They've talked about the struggle of jobs for each community, and it's made them stronger. But here we are now, and I just want to say a couple of things. There was an article in the Vancouver Sun which reported that oil and gas lobbyists are more successful than any other industry in getting time with politicians in rich BC. And Damien just showed that. And we need to talk, as we have been over the last long period of time, but particularly since fracking has come up more, is you need water to frack. And in communities already facing water stress, and there are communities that suffer from water stress, they completely ran out of water. They had no water at all. All their water had to be trucked in. The International Energy Agency calculates that fracking will now produce 14% of the global gas supply. So let's imagine the following. I know you all put up your hands and said that you understand fracking, but I just want to remind you of a couple of things. The drill bores go to 1.5 to 3 kilometers deep. You cap it with cement and steel, and then you flush millions of liters of frack fluid, water, sand, and chemicals to make hairline cracks in the rock. And then the sand, with all the crap in it, keep the cracks open. This fluid is pumped back up for several days, and 40 to 70% of the fluid stays behind. And then you repeat up to 10 times. For gas, LNG, you cap it with a pipeline and it's in place. So people in Kitimat that say LNG is good because all they see is the end product. They don't see the fracked part of it because you get the pipeline and then you take it to the terminal. Fracking isn't only used on shale formations, and I don't trust any government in Canada not to consider that it can also crack methane on coal deposits. Each well uses 9 to 29 million liters of water over its lifetime. And I don't have time to discuss the chemical impact on land and watersheds because I think many other people have talked about that. But I think you get the idea. I've been asked to talk about green jobs, ones where workers and communities are not subjected to toluene and xylene, which causes and has caused central nervous system damage, among a host of other horrible ill effects. So we have a big job to communicate with workers, especially young workers, desperate for good paying jobs. That's what pipelines and fracked LNGs are being used as. The carrot being held up to workers and to many First Nation communities is that's the answer by industry and government to create prosperity. So we at Unifor, as I've said, we said what we have about bitumen and fracking. We talk about alternatives which create green jobs, such as clean energy, solar, expanded transit, green affordable housing, pipelines for water for all communities in Canada. That would be amazing. From the high north to the south. And how about a public transportation that operates 24/7 on Highway 16? But a resolution passed by a convention or a national executive board is not enough. What must we do? I was asked to make some suggestions, so I will. We must build, between the labor movement, a stronger collaboration with First Nations. Yeah. It's not good enough to sign a document and have everybody there signing it and then never talk after that. It's not just to be on panels or rallies, although that's important, but it's to do the day-to-day collaboration of work and listen. I mean listen, not speechify, not talk down, but to listen. When certain chiefs agree, as has already been said, to fracking on their territories, or when some unions agree they support fracking, and they have, we need to talk to them. You never win people over by isolating and denouncing them. You just don't. But you have to force that communication. You have to force that kind of discussion, or it will never happen. We have to build a bigger and more diverse coalition in British Columbia of young people, of First Nations, of everybody, from every class and every structure that we know. It has to be bigger and more diverse. I think that we need to build a war chest for First Nations people and for settlers who are prepared to defend the land in courts or go to jail to stop what this government and the federal government wants to do to this nation, and in particular and we must ensure that every community and all workers have real jobs. And we know there's countries, we could have a different forum on what's been done on green jobs in Norway, in Europe, in many other countries, and share that information, talk about what real green jobs are, and that they are economically viable, and that they do put a good paycheck in people's pocket, and that they don't affect climate change, and that they are good and will be good for not me, for my grandchildren, for my great-grandchildren, and for the generations after that. Because we all know that there's no point having a job on a dead planet, and there's no point having a job that you can't leave to future generations to be able to have water, fish, animals, and clean and safe communities for all of us. So think about it. If you are a union member, stand up. Be counted. Challenge. Tell people that you are opposed to fracking, that you are opposed to pipelines, and why. And if you don't know, then share the info. If they don't know, then share more information with them. Because it's only going to be that we have rooms like this all the time across British Columbia that we're going to stop Christy Clark, Harper, but more importantly, we're going to stop these damn corporations thinking they can come in here and rape and pillage everything that we know and love. Thank you.